Boats and hoes, boats and hoes. I gotta have me my boats and hoes. Boats and hoes, boats and hoes.
Welcome everybody, Bolts and Hose podcast, episode number 34. 4? We did 33 last week? Yeah, it's 34. Damn, I drank a lot last week. So last week was Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So this is 34.
Treinta y cuatro.
There you go. Treinta. You have too many syllables.
You're really critical of my
I am.
Treinta.
I should stop. I should be more supportive of your efforts in Espanol.
I think I actually did very good. I hung out with Aiden today,
Yeah?
and he was actually complimenting.
Really?
I think he was. I couldn't understand
Yeah,
him,
exactly.
but I think he was complimenting me.
That's an exact opposite of what he was doing.
No, I think he was very impressed.
Did you bring the beer labels today?
I do have the beer labels.
All right.
Yes,
So, and the reason I asked this,
Okay.
so what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Texas Coast IPA. That's kind of my staple now. They've been doing this
It's
for a
good
while
one.
now.
Texas Coast is a good one.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking the On Comet.
Very good.
And the
Yeah.
reason why I say
Okay.
that is because, so next Friday, we're installing the Big Tex, the Incredible Hex, and we're going to private label some beer, which is ultimately On Comet.
So we've got all of these labels that apparently these won't fit on the machine over there, so we have to sit around and drink beer and label all of these by hand.
label. These are going to be collector's items, so if you have a chance to get one of these beers,
Okay, here we go.
don't drink it, just keep it.
All right, here we go. So this is the label. See if it'll focus. There we go. So that's the full label that'll wrap around the can if you can visualize that. So it's Big Tex IPA. It's got Humble Texas established 2018, and then there's a image of the Big Hex, and it's a squirrel on it. Says, "I like big nuts and I cannot lie."
I like big nuts
Yeah.
and I cannot lie.
So there's
Here's
other
this-
cool stuff on there,
But so if
Cool label.
If you
Yeah.
think about that, I just thought about this. That's a big ass squirrel,
it's a big squirrel, yeah.
right?
But you know, you couldn't make the tiny squirrel because you wouldn't be able to
You wouldn't know what it was.
delineate between the squirrel and the nut.
Because the nut is so large.
So here is an actual picture of it, and we just put this on a Bang can because that's all we had. We didn't have an actual beer can, and it's probably a little taller than what we wanted. Anyway, I think I need to, Allie taught me this.
Yeah.
So whenever you want to focus something, we failed on this last year, but see how it won't focus? It's focused on Bryce. You put your hand up, and it kind of shields it, and then it focuses. You see that? That cool?
It is.
So you can see that. Yep. So when we're doing those small parts, we can focus on there.
You didn't get my pun there.
So yeah, I did. I got it. I got
very
it.
handy.
I got it. I got it. So there it is. Big Tex IPA. That's what we'll be drinking in the ceremonial festivities next week when we unveil Big Tex, the Incredible Hex.
Yep, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun event. So today, I think what we're planning on just giving you some interesting statistics on
Yeah, you know,
the nut.
there's actually a lot of conversation around this. I don't think I've ever seen anything get as many likes and
It's a lot of buzz.
comments and as this thing. I mean, obviously it's big, and people are probably asking why in the hell are you guys doing this? Maybe you could elaborate on that, Bryce.
I think you go back, so there's a little history here, but I mean, you know, Packer Fastener, they had their big nut. Probably they built, I think it was early 2010s-ish.
Yeah.
And you know, when we started this business in 18, we always kind of looked at it and admired it and thought it was cool and a clever idea. And then during COVID, Slovenia, a company in Slovenia, what was the name of that company?
Matica MB.
Matica MB. So they came out and like one-upped Packer by putting just 1 foot bigger?
No, 2 feet.
2 feet bigger.
12 feet tall, yeah.
And so, you know, having something like that go overseas, it didn't sit well with us. So this year, I mean, we were just joking in the conference room, and we should do the biggest nut. We should bring this thing back to Texas. Texas is the home of all that is big, and anytime Chris and I joke about things, I mean, the podcast was a joke, and here we are doing a podcast. So it got legs, and we brought over John King, and we said, screw it, let's do it. Let's build the biggest nut. And also it symbolizes kind of the domestic manufacturing, made in USA, domestic jobs, just the creativity, the engineering, just the hard work that, you know, small businesses, there's a spot in our heart for that, right?
Well said, Bryce.
And it symbolizes all the above. So, that's the story, really.
And we've generated a lot of buzz, I guess, on social media, and there's a lot of comments on there. And I'm actually surprised at all the technical guys on there that are asking questions. They're asking questions like, what size wrench fits that thing, or how much torque would it take to,
or what's the thread
tighten
pitch?
That? Yeah, thread pitch. Yeah, there's all kinds of little questions on there, and that kind of piqued our interest. Now, obviously, it's all theoretical, but I thought it would be an interesting exercise to kind of address some of those questions.
So we took some tape measures, some calipers, some plug gauges.
When we went over there today, I mean, obviously we just took let's say a 2-inch nut, an ASME scaled nut, scaled it up to the size that it is now, and whatever the dimensions are, they are. But we actually went and gauged some of those things, like threads per inch, or in this case, threads per foot.
Yes.
Or the diameter, or if you had a stud or a fastener that was threaded through this thing, how much torque would it take to tension that bolt? So I thought that was a cool thing. So I actually ran some numbers, Bryce.
Ran some torque calculations.
Yeah. So I wrote some of those down. So forgive me for referring to my notes.
You're a very prepared individual, Chris.
So if you were to take a bolt that was to fit in that nut, your minor diameter of that would be about 10 feet in diameter. So the minor diameter of the bolt, I mean, just think about that for a second.
It's insane.
Yeah, and I think the depth of the threads was about 8 inches on each side. Am I right?
It was
7 inches on each side. So add 14 inches to that, and you've got the major diameter. But if you were just to take the way the bolt calculations are done when you're calculating for torque values, is to assume the root diameter. So we're dealing with a 10-foot diameter here. So the root area is what you would need to figure out a pounds per square inch of force, is about 9,160 square inches. Isn't that amazing?
I'm lost already.
9,160 square inches of solid steel, not excluding the threads. Just shave the threads away. Root diameter of the fastener that would fit inside that nut is 9,160 square inches. Okay,
That's nuts.
So here's another little fact. If you were to look at the strength of, let's just assume it's a B7 stud that's fitting in that nut.
Correct.
So if you were to assume on a 1-inch bolt, what's the yield strength of a B7 stud bolt, Bryce?
105 men.
105 men. What happens when you get up to 2-inch or 3-inch, let's say?
I mean, it'll go down. I think
It'll go down.
Yeah, it'll go down.
Right.
I think it goes down to 95, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I think you're right. So so here's the technical question: what would the strength of that bolt, the yield strength of that bolt, be at 10 foot in diameter?
It's unprecedented.
Yeah.
But so let's just say, and maybe say 70. Is that fair?
I think it's much less.
Much less.
And
30.
The reason why I say I think it's much less is because I've assumed much less in my calculations.
Fair enough.
So I'm assuming it is 15,000 PSI is what you're going to torque it to. So let's say the ultimate yield strength is 30 or 40
Okay, fair
PSI.
enough. Yep.
Right?
Similar to a stainless steel.
Yes. So if you were to, let's say, torque it to 50 or 60% of the yield, you'd be targeting a bolt stress of about 15,000 PSI.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, I'm with you.
So how much torque would it take to get that bolt up to 15,000 PSI, Bryce?
A shitload.
And I should caveat this by saying I'm assuming a K factor of 0.172, because that's a critical factor in this thing too. Do K factors work the same when you're assuming a 1-inch bolt versus what would now be a 10-foot diameter bolt? Probably not.
And what are you using?
I'm using 0.172.
Are you using thread lubricant?
Yes. No, 0.172 I think would assume that it's just an uncoated bolt no lubrication. Just on it's a
Bare on
fairly
bare.
conservative
Okay.
approach to friction
Okay,
factor.
sure.
Yeah.
So how much?
So the amount of torque that it would take is about 212 million foot-pounds of torque
So how would you
to
do
get it
that?
up to that 15,000 KSI, assuming a friction factor of 0.172.
So how would you do that?
I don't know that you could do it.
You would drop a tank on top of the wrench?
I don't know how you do
Something.
it. I mean, it's all theoretical. I don't think you could torque that high because think about the strength of a torque wrench. I don't know that
You're
you
gonna
can come
break
over
the torque
anything that
wrench,
high. I mean, there's no way.
It's all in fun.
Yeah, I think you'd have to have a torque wrench that's 6 feet in diameter.
Right. Made out of a tool steel.
Yeah, I think it would be something unbelievable. I mean, obviously you're dealing with larger bolts, you're going to tension them, right? You're going to hydraulically tension them, you're not going to torque it. But just for the sake of
Conversation.
argument, and somebody made the comment, how much torque would it take? Then technically, theoretically, if you ran the numbers, then the torque value is somewhere around 212 million foot-pounds of torque, give or take a few foot-pounds.
Crazy. And then what about the thread pitch? What was the thread pitch?
So the thread pitch. So thread pitch is if you were to take the crest of the thread and measure it from the distance to the next crest of the thread, so the point between those two threads.
How many of those you get per inch? Threads per inch.
So here's
right?
an interesting tidbit. There's about 8 inches of pitch between those 2 points, right?
Right, yep.
So typically on, let's say, the 2-inch that it was scaled up from is what?
Typically you do an eight thread pitch, right?
threads per inch.
8 threads per
In
inch.
this case, it's 1/8 threads per
per foot.
inch.
Or-
No, per
yeah,
inch.
Per inch.
1/8 threads per inch. So an 8.125 threads per inch. Or you could say roughly
Three-quarters of a foot.
3/4 of a threads per foot.
So
could say
that's what
that.
we changed it. So
Yeah.
it's TPI. We changed it to TPF. It's
Yeah, TPF.
0.75 TPF
Yeah,
is
I don't-
what the Incredible Hex is.
Yeah, UNC doesn't go up that high. I mean, what
No.
do you see? Sometimes you'll see a 4 pitch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
sometimes even on the
4 is-
Acme threads,
yeah.
or even on some of the larger diameter coarse threads, you might see a 4 threads per inch. Yeah, there you go.
That
one
is
4?
4.
Okay.
You said that because you knew that was
Yeah.
4.
So this one is much coarser than that.
Yeah.
Much coarser.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a
So,
doubt.
interesting fun facts. So I think we're really addressing some of the viewers' comments
So,
on this.
okay, here. So, just some
Yeah.
basic information. 16 feet across the flats, 19 feet across the corners, and then, what was it?
9 feet in
thick.
depth. Yeah, thickness. Yeah.
The thickness, the overall thickness, if you lay it down flat, is 9 feet. It
It's
is-
a big nut, Bryce.
You know, it's a big ass nut. We won't use the language that Mattress Mac used, but it's a big, large nut. And it's going to be sitting in front of our shop. I'm afraid you won't even be able to see our building.
Mattress Mac, do you want to say what he said? He said it was a big effing nut. He said it was a big effing nut.
Why
He
don't
said,
you cuss on this one? Because I'm always the one
No,
cussing.
I'm saying effing.
No way.
Effing would be fun.
Effing.
They're still going to have to bleep that out. This is not a kid's show, by the way.
It isn't.
When we upload this to YouTube, there's a question that says, is this video made
Is
for
it a kid?
kids?
And it is absolutely
And
not.
I always answer, no, it's not made for kids. We'll get you on, brother. All right.
So we got some fans in the
We've got
in
some
the crowd
fans.
today. Here at Ingenious.
You do.
We've become a little bit of a celebrity around here.
Yeah.
So
Let's just go over some parts, and we're going to wrap this thing up.
Okay.
What do you think, Bryce?
I'm down.
Unless you want to go over something else.
No,
Any
I
kind
think
of-
that's good. I think it's just some interesting facts about the Incredible Hex. Big Tex, the Incredible Hex, coming to you next Friday.
Yeah,
December
just to
8th.
give you a little schedule of events, John is going to start from his shop early that morning. We're planning to arrive about 10 a.m. in the morning. Now, things can happen. I think, this thing is so wide. It's going to fit so wide on the back of a very large tractor trailer that they have to get approval from DOT, Department of Transportation. I think Department of Transportation, you have to submit your plan for travel for something like this, and then they come back to you within a certain amount of time, and they basically tell you how you should get this here, what's the best route, and they don't know that up until the time of departure.
You know,
So,
I will admit, I feel a little guilty.
why?
I appreciate everything that police officers do for us and keeping us safe, and there's going to be a police escort escorting our 16-foot tall nut down the highway.
This is a big deal, Bryce.
It's a big deal, but man,
You shouldn't feel bad about this.
I
This is-
feel there's a little bit of guilt there. I
This
gotta
is
admit.
for the betterment of humankind. I mean, we're actually doing a service here.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's a lot of kids that are looking at this with aspirations of maybe
hopes
making
and
a
dreams.
larger nut someday. I mean, you never know.
You never know. You
I think
never
we
know.
have to assume the best, which is we're doing this as an act of humanity, and we're making the world a better place.
Inspiration.
Really. Yeah. So-
Exactly. So let's get into parts of the week.
So just to finish that thought, we don't know exactly when it's going to be here. We assume it's somewhere around 10 a.m., but it could give or take an hour, depending on what's happening with traffic and what the route is we're handed down from Department of Transportation. And then, there's going to be a lot of people, I think, that'll be here. We've invited some customers and key people that have been a part of this thing. Later that day, we'll be having a holiday party for a lot of our employees. We'll be doing that on site, so we'll have a tent set up, and so there'll be a lot of things
A
going
lot
on
of activities.
here. Yeah,
Lots of room for activities.
Lots of kids.
What movie?
what is that?
Lots of room for activities.
No.
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers?
Yeah,
No.
they put up the bunk bed.
Oh, right, yeah. Good one. Nice little,
You like that?
yeah, a little
You like that?
slip that right in
Yeah,
there.
Exactly. Slippity.
Okay, so let's jump into some parts.
Okay,
Bryce
so
Aroni.
we got big to small. We got 3 parts this
Let's
week.
go small, because
Small.
I'm very impressed with this big one. I'm
The big one
really
is
jazzed about this.
save the big for last.
This is like jewelry right here.
It is jewelry.
Yeah.
All right, so
You want to try a little hand technique
I
to
will.
focus?
I'm gonna get really handy here. I'm not working. All
No,
right.
you got to cover the whole
There we go.
thing. You got to cover the whole thing. Let me show you. Let me show
Okay,
you.
you handle it.
Yeah,
I'll talk.
I'll do the hand model.
All right, so this, my friends, is
Look at that.
a fine
Beautiful.
thread 660 socket head cap screw. Spin that thing a little bit if you can. It's got 2 vent grooves, or it's not vent grooves on the side. It's actually holds a washer with tabs in it. It's a very interesting part. So
Yeah,
it's
you
got-
see the little groove through the threads right there?
And honestly, I'm really disappointed in myself. I can't remember what the dimensions are on it. Do you remember?
You know, it looks, is that quarter 20 maybe?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think there's a number. I can't remember, man. So it's a fine thread. It's got the 2 grooves in it. It's a 660 socket. They call it a captive screw. And we have literally, there's hundreds. I think there's almost 1,000 parts out in the shop right now. So
Those are great.
really, I mean, just the detail that goes into this part. It's a very meticulous. You got to have special tooling.
Yeah, I think that's really impressive part. It just shows you the,
High-end stainless steel.
yeah, it just shows you the precision that goes into some of these parts. You know, they're
No
not
doubt.
all just whittled out of wood. Sometimes you're actually dealing with really tight tolerances and small little characteristics like that
Yep.
that are pretty, take some precision, to get
Take
it
some
to get it
time
right.
too.
Yeah.
So the customer actually came back and changed it on us too after we finished it. So just again another added. So we made the parts and now we have to go back and adjust them a little bit just because they want them modified from the original drawing.
And thank
So-
goodness we were able to use the existing parts
Yeah.
and modify them.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just another thing we do. Since we're a manufacturer, we have that versatility to be able to
we can do that.
change things up if we need to. So it's good.
So this looks like a normal old nut.
Do a little focus on that.
What size do you think that is, Chris? There's no threads in it yet. No threads. What size?
Man, I'm glad Allie showed me that thing. You know, she's done these cosmetology or these beautician things where like a podcaster will bring up like a tube of lipstick or a compact or something like that. And she said they always do this. So this is the first time I tried it, but it actually works really good.
We should bring lipstick for you next episode.
I've got some in my back pocket right now.
Really?
Yeah.
We should put some on.
Okay,
Big
let's
boy.
get back to the nut.
What size is it, Chris? What size is the nut?
Bryce, I'm going to say that's a 5/8.
Ding, ding, ding.
I know 5/8. I
So,
know my 5/8.
That's a 5/8 11.
Well,
Guess
it's
the
not 11
material.
yet.
It's not because
It
there's
could-
no
it could be
threads.
fine thread.
It's a 5/8 blank. That's a
Yeah.
good point. What is the material? Taste it, smell it, guess it.
Man, I think that is going to be, you know, hold on a second.
So why would I bring a 5/8 nut on here if it wasn't something cool?
You know, I just don't think it's Inconel. I think it's something really hard. It's Alloy X.
Alloy X.
Look at that. Amazing. I saw that order.
Did you?
Rolling through the shop, yeah.
So yeah, studs and nuts, Alloy X. I don't think you can consider Alloy X an Inconel. I think it's considered an Incaloy if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there.
Incaloy would be a brand
But
name
that's all trade names. Incaloy, Incaloy.
of Haynes, owned by Haynes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very good, Chris.
You know, I'm learning from you, Bryce.
Pulling out the metals info. So just a cool alloy. I mean, it's a not very easy to find. There's only a couple people in the States that are stocking the material. So all domestic material, brought in, machined from Round Bar. So, you know, we're probably bringing in 1.25 inch, I think, on that. And milling and drilling. And then next they'll
From
tap.
solid Round Bar. It's beautiful.
Yep. And that was a good order. I mean, I think there was like 72 studs.
We're still working on that one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I grabbed this one out of the bucket.
Yeah, hard to machine too, right?
It's very hard. Very, very hard.
So let's go to the fastener of the week right here, Bryce.
So
This one is a special treat.
with the
This is a
theme,
nice one.
with the theme that we've been rolling with the last week or so, and then what's being installed with, you know, the big nut. Thought we'd bring on another nut for you.
A square
A
nut,
square nut. Look at that. Look
and that's
at
what,
that.
a 4-inch?
It is.
4-inch?
Ooh, it's a 3-inch 4.
Okay, 3-inch.
I think it's 4 3/4 square, 3 inches thick,
Sounds right.
and it's 3-inch 4 thread pitch. All made out of 4140 quench and tempered.
I'll get that.
Get that Patriot bolt on there.
See if we can lock Bryce out of there to do some.
I'm hiding, so maybe you can't.
There we
go.
go.
You got it. You got it. See the
There we
Patriot bolt on there.
Yeah. And beautiful
parts.
Beautiful threads rolling through there.
I know I went out to the shop to look for parts, and I saw those things standing up by the mill. And very, very good looking parts.
Very nice finish. I mean, that is smooth as a baby's butt, as I would say.
So for Christmas, I hope you get me a chain and put one of those on a chain so I can wear it. Blang, blang.
What's up, dog?
Yeah.
You like that?
I do.
I like it.
And that's some drip, son.
Your neck would get a little tired of that, Bryce.
It's good for you. You need to work your neck out, you know?
I'm gonna let you do that, Bryce.
That's okay. I need my neck strengthened.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna try our best to try to make these a little more concise. I think we kind of get carried away sometimes.
We'll try, but I promise they will get carried away because they always do.
Yeah.
Your beard looks awfully white today.
You know, I'm starting to grow it out. You know, we had the whole no shave November thing.
Did you
And,
do that?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, well, no, I probably started a couple weeks ago, but it's probably, I was telling Andrea this morning, I think this is the longest I've ever had it.
I know, man.
She argues with me. She thinks I've had it longer before, but I don't think so.
You should grow it out and be
that's
Santa.
it. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
like it.
think about Christmas time, I could probably pass off as a Santa.
Put on a little belly.
Santa has more hair.
And you need a belly.
I have a belly. Don't worry about
Nah, not a Santa belly.
that. Yeah.
Not a Santa belly.
Okay, guys, we want to cordially invite everybody to show up next Friday. I don't think we got plenty of parking lot room, and anybody wants to show up, please do. I think this unveiling is going to be a sight that you don't get to experience very often.
Yeah, you don't appreciate it until you see it in person. So come out and check it out.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
We'll be having some beers at Ingenious.
We'll have our
I like
our
big
Tex IPA.
nuts.
Yes.
It's a
And,
collector's edition. So
And if you don't like that, there's other stuff here. I'm sure there's a food truck that will be here. John King will be here. Hopefully Mattress Mac will show up for a little bit, although we don't have
We got a
complete
verbal
confirmation on that. We've invited some other
Local people. I mean, we've
Celebrities.
sent it out to, there's a lot of press releases running around, so we'll see. We don't have anything confirmed solid with news stations or anything yet, but stay tuned. Like, comment, share. We'll be posting stuff all week regarding the big install next Friday.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Well done.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheers, Bryce.
Adios.
Boats and hoes, boats and hoes. I gotta have me my boats and hoes. Boats and hoes, boats and hoes.